Okay, so today we're going to dive into this incredible story. It's an ancient mystery that, believe it or not, unfolds into this profound explanation for why our lives are, well, the way they are. And the cast of characters, you've got the Buddha, a very angry dog, and a hidden family fortune. Sounds wild, right?
But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the story, let's just start with a question that's right at the heart of it all. What if everything that happens to you, the good stuff, the bad stuff, the beautiful, the ugly, what if none of it is random chance? What if it's all a direct result of a script that you, yourself, have been writing this whole time?
So, our guide for all of this is a text called the Sutra on Distinguishing the Retribution of Good and Evil. Now, a sutra is basically a sacred text in Buddhism. And what's so cool about this one is that it doesn't just lay out its philosophy with a bunch of abstract concepts. No, it does it through a gripping, really personal story. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, so our story kicks off on what seems like a totally ordinary morning, but it very quickly turns into a life-altering encounter. So picture this. The Buddha is making his daily rounds, begging for food in the city of Śrāvastī. He comes up to the gate of a pretty wealthy guy named Śuka, and Śuka's dog, Śanga, just sees the Buddha and completely loses it, barking super aggressive. But here's where it gets weird. Instead of just, ignoring the dog, the Buddha looks right at it and says something really strange. He says, "You bark at me because you are not yet enlightened." And get this, the dog hears him, gets even more worked up, and just bolts. Now, when Śuka, the dog's owner, finds out what happened, he is furious. He storms off to find the Buddha, demanding to know why he upset his dog. But the answer he's about to get is something he could never, ever have predicted. And it all comes down to this one simple question. Who was this dog?
The Buddha's reply is, well, it's a bombshell. He tells the enraged Śuka that this dog is actually his own deceased father, a man named Dunya. He explains that because his father was so greedy and stingy in his past life and just didn't believe in any of this stuff, he was reborn as the family dog. Śuka, of course, is like, no way. He refuses to believe it. His father was a respectable man. How could this possibly be true?
So the Buddha basically says, okay, don't take my word for it. Here's how you can find out for yourself. Śuka goes home, still pretty skeptical, and he actually talks to the dog. He asks, "If you are truly my father Dunya, then you have to show me a sign." And then this incredible thing happens. The dog, Śanga, gets up, walks over to the sandalwood seat, and just starts sniffing and pawing at the ground. So Śuka starts digging right there, and he unearths 4 massive iron urns, just filled with gold and treasures that his father had secretly buried. This was a fortune the family had no idea even existed.
Finding that gold, well, it changes everything. The proof is just undeniable. Suddenly, Śuka isn't angry anymore. He's humbled, he's shocked, and now he is just filled with this burning need for answers.
So he rushes back to find the Buddha, but this time he's not there to yell at him. He's there to ask questions. The shocking truth about his father has completely blown his mind open to a much, much bigger mystery, the mystery of life itself. And he asks the Buddha a question that is pretty much echoed through all of human history, one I'm sure we've all wondered about at some point. Why is life so unequal, right? Why are some people born to live long lives and others short ones? Why are some people healthy and others always sick? Why are some beautiful and others ugly, some rich and others poor? And this right here is where the story pivots. It goes from being this personal mystery about a man and his dog to a universal teaching. The Buddha's answer is this really detailed breakdown of the law of cause and effect, which you probably know as karma. So the core idea is actually pretty simple. The teaching says our lives are not the result of just random luck or some divine judgment from on high. Instead, they are the direct outcome of our own past actions. Every single action, or cause, creates a matching effect that ends up shaping our future reality. And the sutra draws these incredibly direct lines. A short life, the Buddha explains, is the result of actions that harm or take life from others. But on the flip side, a long life comes from actions that protect and preserve it. Things like saving someone who's in danger, or even just giving food and protection to those who need it. And this same logic applies directly to our health. Actions that cause harm, and that could be anything from physical violence to even just being disrespectful to your parents, are said to lead to a life filled with sickness. But actions of care, like looking after the sick or honoring your elders, those are what create the conditions for a healthy life. You guessed it, the sutra makes the exact same kind of connection for wealth.
It says poverty isn't just bad luck, it's the effect of past actions, like stealing or being jealous of other people's success, or even stopping others from being generous. Wealth, on the other hand, is born from generosity. It comes from being happy for other people's good fortune and from showing respect. It's almost presented as this direct, cosmic accounting system.
So, okay, if our negative experiences are caused by our negative actions, then it stands to reason that the opposite is true. And yeah, the Sutra provides a really clear blueprint for how to build a positive reality through positive actions.
The text gets super detailed about the rewards you get for specific good deeds. For example, it says that honoring wisdom and truth doesn't just lead to spiritual progress, it actually leads to tangible, real-world rewards, like being well-respected by everyone and having a mind that's clear and confident.
And it's just as specific about the consequences of negative actions. It's not vague at all. For instance, it doesn't just say, hey, don't drink too much. Oh no. It lists 36 distinct negative outcomes of drinking alcohol. And they range from the totally worldly stuff like losing all your money and fighting with your family, all the way to the spiritual, like creating the cause for a really, really terrible rebirth. Which brings us to the ultimate conclusion of this whole story and its teaching. And it's a message of, well, profound personal power.
In his final words to Śuka, the Buddha really just sums it all up. He explains that our own actions are the engine that drives our reality. They're what bring us into our circumstances in the first place, whether we end up high or low, wise or foolish, and they are also the key to changing them.
So ultimately, the story of Śuka and his dog isn't really about fate or some destiny that's all sealed up and you can't change. It's the complete opposite. It suggests that you are the author of your own life story. The pen is always in your hand, and every single action you take is writing the very next chapter.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If our life truly is a direct reflection of our past choices, our generosity, our kindness, our anger, our greed, what does the mirror of your reality show you right now, today? And maybe more importantly, what actions are you going to take now to shape the reflection you see tomorrow?